Congratulations to each and every single one of you on making your decision to come to this event. I tell you what, there's power in the live event. So you can never, ever, ever discount the power of a live event. Mr. Gonzalez, we thank you so much for everything that you're doing. This is just amazing. I can feel the energy all the way here in Virginia. So thanks again. And good evening, I guess. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dadzie, as you heard, and I'll share a little bit of my story. Can you guys hear me well?
Yes, sir.
Good stuff. And you can see my screen, yes?
Yes, sir.
All right. And so just to share with everyone and tell you a little bit more about myself, I'm a 10-year military vet with the United States Navy. I actually started working with this incredible company, Legal Shield, some 16 plus years ago. And at the time, I was in the military. My wife was in the military. That's her with the head on, by the way. We had 2 small kids, and quite frankly, what we found was that military life wasn't always too conducive to family life, right? Because one second, my wife is out on deployment, and when they bring her back, guess what? They send my butt out of deployment. So it always just seemed as if we never had any time with each other or any time with our kids for that matter. So we were looking for something, right? Found Legal Shield, and I never forget, my very first month working on a very part-time, spare time basis, I actually matched my military pay. I got excited about that. After 5 short months of working with this incredible company, I became an executive director, and I was making almost twice my paycheck. 2.5 years later, when I had the opportunity to either re-enlist, do 20 years, get a check for the rest of my life, or I could decide to walk away and pursue Legal Shield full time, I'm sure you guessed it. I decided to walk away and pursue Legal Shield full time. And I can tell you this, it has certainly been one of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life. Matter of fact, I haven't even worked for anyone now in over 13 years. Some of you are like, dude, you look like you're 13. Wait a minute, 10-year military vet, 16 years with Legal Shield. I can see you doing the math now. Like, how old is this guy, right? I'm in my 40s. I'm 42. I'll be 43 later on this year. So I tell folks all the time, look, if you want to look young like me, you're at the right place at the right time, looking at the right company and with the right company. And so Legal Shield keeps me young. But I'll tell you this, the following year after I left the military, we were actually trying to find a way to get my wife out of the service a little bit sooner. And so we decided to have our law firm review my wife's military contract just to see if they could find some loopholes. And guess what? They actually did. Now, the only challenge was that loophole would cost $25,000. Well, I'm very happy to say that because of this incredible opportunity and all the extra income we were making in our Legal Shield business, we were able to stroke a check for 25 grand. We bought her out of her contract. And today she hasn't worked for anyone in over 12 years. Imagine that one. And so what this business means to us is, we went from having no time at all to today we have time whenever we want it. Right? We've been blessed and fortunate to put our kids through the best of the best private schools. We love to travel. Matter of fact, it is our goal to visit every single country on the planet until we leave this earth. And because of this incredible opportunity, that is all becoming possible. Matter of fact, in the last 6 years, we've been blessed and fortunate to visit 21 different nations across 4 different continents, and we're just getting started. So that's a little bit about my Dun & Bradstreet, and it all sounds great, right? It all sounds phenomenal. You see, that's just a short part of the story. You see, there's always a story behind the story, okay? And I'm gonna get into that story just a little bit, and then I'll share my screen a little bit later and go through some other stuff, right? And so when I got started in this business, right, I was super pumped up. I was fired up. I was excited. And they say there are 3 things you need to have in order to have true success in this business. Number 1, you have to have a burning desire for success, right? How many of you have a burning desire for success? Chances are you probably do, right? That's why you're here. Well, congratulations. That's one of the ingredients that it takes to have incredible success. The second thing is, you have to be willing to work, right? You got to be willing to work because nobody's going to give it to you. Nobody's going to say, hey, Eric, here you go, right? No, you got to be willing to work. You got to be willing to do the things that you need to do so you can be where you need to be. Now, the third thing that you need to have is you got to be teachable and coachable. Well, ladies and gentlemen, when I first got started, I wasn't teachable and coachable. Let me tell you, my sponsor would say, hey, we have these weekly events that we go to. It's great. You should bring somebody with you. And I'm like, man, look, I don't have time for that. I work a long day with the military already. I'm not going to anything. Look, I don't need all that to have any success. And he used to hound me a little bit, but I kept giving him the cold shoulder, like, no, right? I remember he would say, hey, you should come to the Super Saturdays. You should do this. I wouldn't listen to any of the advice he gave me at all. And it's funny because, I was an expert in the military, but I wasn't an expert in Legal Shield. So obviously I should have listened to him. So, I'm calling through my list, right? And some of you may have done this. And Mr. Brian Carruthers, the #1 income earner in Legal Shield, he always says, look, some people show up and they throw up. And, when they throw up, people decide that they're not going to sign up with them because they've shown that they're not competent enough to get that done, right? And so, that's what I did. I was showing up and I was throwing up and no one would sign up with me, right? So it was a 5-week month. I'll never forget. My first 3 weeks in this business, I'm calling people. First 3 weeks in this business, I'm calling people. I'm giving people DVDs because today, guess what? We have a mobile app. You can shoot somebody a link and get them to watch it. But guess what? It wasn't like that back then. Okay. But I'm giving people the CDs. I'm talking to people. I made myself the deal. I tried to make myself the expert. And here's the lesson I learned in Legal Shield. The more talking you do, the less money you make. The less talking you do, the more money you make, okay? So 3 weeks later, I'm like, man, this isn't working. So I call my sponsor. I call him up. His name is Ian Valance. I said, hey, Mr. Valance, this thing isn't working out the way I thought it would. He said, yeah, I know. It's because you keep trying to do things your way and it's not working, right? I'm like, correct. He says, now let's try it our way, the Legal Shield way, following the system. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do everything this guy tells me to do. And when it doesn't work, I'm going to say, you see, it doesn't work. And so here's what happened. I started having some sit down presentations, one-on-ones with him, or two-on-ones, should I say, because I started bringing him everywhere. He said, look, I want you to introduce me to everyone who's on your list, everyone you know. And it's funny because the same people who I talked to who wouldn't sign up, when he talked to them, answered their questions, they signed up. Like, oh my gosh, can you believe that? Has that ever happened to somebody here? If that's ever happened to you, I want you to put me in the chat box, right? But I want you to think about that, right? Because I was out there, doing all the talking and trying to get this thing figured out myself, not knowing that Legal Shield has a system. And if you just decide to follow the system, you can do amazing things in this business. So I started following the system, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? We went from being associates, okay, to hitting director our very first month. We actually recruited 33 people into our business and we signed up 33 people for this membership. And at the time we went director our very first month. It was our goal to be directors our very first month. I said, look, what's the highest level, in the company? He said, well, the highest permanent position is director. I said, well, great. That's where I want to be. But I didn't understand that I needed to follow the system that Legal Shield has in order to get there. And so once we got to the director level, and I realized, and honestly, what happened was I started having some two-on-one sit downs with my sponsor. I started having some private business receptions. Today, we call it PZCs, meaning, hey, you can invite people to a Zoom and you have an expert do the presentation for you, get everybody's questions answered and get them signed up, right? I started doing a lot of those. I started attending Super Saturdays and Fast Start training, right? I started doing all of that. And so then I started to understand, okay, so this is how it works, okay? And so guess what? We started pumping. We started moving really fast, okay? So much so, I remember, we wanted to be executive director qualified by our 3rd month in the business. That was the goal, right? And we had back then you had to have 75 memberships in order to go executive director. We had so much momentum because what we started to do was we started to have those private business receptions every day. Every day we would sign people up, right? But guess what? We had so much momentum in production that in our 3rd month in the business, we had the 75 memberships. We didn't have the structure yet because you needed to have 3 director lines, in order to even be in position for executive director, right? And so guess what? The following month, we said, look, we'll get it this next month. The following month, we had more sit downs, we had more private business receptions, and we learned a very valuable lesson. Okay, and I want you all to write this down. Never let your minimum become your maximum. I'll say that one more time. Never let your minimum become your maximum. Because family, that's exactly what we did. We let our minimum become our maximum. You needed 75 memberships. So our goal was, hey, we're just going to do 75 memberships. Well, guess what? That fourth month in the business, we thought we had 75 memberships. And guess what? One of those individuals' membership didn't go through because something went wrong with his credit card. So the membership didn't process. We had 74 and we did not qualify executive director. How many of you know that I was bummed about that, right? Super bummed. But here's the deal. You can't, my wife and I have a saying, and the saying goes like this: never let how you feel overtake what you know. Never let how you feel overtake what you know. We knew that we could get to executive director. We knew we were executive director material. We just had to recalibrate and figure what we were going to do out. And so then we reset our goals. By the way, goals are super, super important. You want to make sure that you set some goals along your journey, right? When are you going to fast start qualified? When are you going to get to become a future leader of Legal Shield? When are you going to become a director, a senior director, an executive director? When are you going to earn your six-figure ring or your 50K ring or whatever? You have to set goals in place with timelines in order to get there, because that's what we did. We set our goals and all we did was think about how it will feel once we got there. And we knew we wanted it and we wanted it bad. And so we were working with some incredible leaders on our team, who were getting it done as well. And we were getting it done. And guess what? Our fifth month in the business, we qualified executive director. Right? We were excited about that because back then, guess what? That was something that, 5 months executive director was unheard of. Today, I mean, good gracious, you've got people who are qualifying executive director like we're giving it out like it was candy, right? Tell me I'm lying, right? You got some people who are qualifying in 4 months, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month in the business going ED. It's just about your belief, right? What do you believe, right? Have you set the goals in place? Are you putting the activities in place in order to get there? That's all it takes, family. And so, once we got to executive director, we were excited about that, right? And so now it's like, okay, what's next? Well, shoot, we need to get this ring, right? That was our goal. Our goal was to become six-figure ring earners in the business. And I can tell you this, many, many times on our journey, we came close. We just barely made it, right? And I never forget, okay? And here's another great lesson for you. Never forget, we're having all this momentum, right? We're knocking on the door of our six-figure ring and all of that good stuff, maybe 3 years into the business, right? And what happened was we had a whole bunch of people who canceled their membership. And we all know that there's something called advanced recoveries, right? Well, I'll say this. We ended up having about $20,000 in advanced recoveries. And I tell you what, it may have been devastating for some, and it was certainly not fun at the time. These are some of the ups and downs you have in your business, right? And I tell folks all the time, I never lose at anything. I never lose. I either win or I learn. And I learned a valuable lesson. You want to make sure that you're writing good business. And at the time, it wasn't that I was writing bad business or anything like that. I thought I was writing good business, but when you're working with military and you're signing people up, you're working with people who are in the military, right? There's something, military gets paid on the 1st and the 15th. You sign somebody on the 1st up, you're good to go. The 2nd up, you're good to go. 3rd up, you might be pushing it. The 4th or the 5th, don't even try it, right? Because next month, they may not have that money there, right? And guess what? Same thing when it comes to the 15th, right? They get paid on the 15th. You sign them up then, it's great. You sign them up on... You sign them up on the 16th, good to go. 17th, good to go. 18th, they may not have that money there the following month, right? And so guess what? We had a whole bunch of people who we had signed up in between paydays, and let's just say it wasn't great, okay? $20,000 in advanced recoveries, which wasn't easy. The company put us on as earned. What does that mean? Well, you see those handsome commissions that we getting paid anywhere from $110 to $308. Well, here's the deal. Imagine Well, not that it's not even unimagined, right? A new associate who doesn't fast track qualify will earn $9.17 every single month for a year. And that equals to 110. So let's just say you divide, my commissions by 12, and there you go. There you have it. That's what I was earning per membership. And so guess what? It took me 2.5 years to work my business and fight through it all to earn a paycheck. Now, how many people would have quit? A lot of people would have quit. We had a bunch of folks on our team who quit on us. We had a whole bunch of people. I mean, it was just a downtime. But you know what? Here's what we did. We never, ever, ever let our memories become greater than our goals. What were the memories? Well, the memories were, look, we had hit executive director quickly. We had an explosive team. We were doing well. And, at the time, it just seemed as if we kind of lost all of our momentum. We weren't so hot anymore, right? Matter of fact, we weren't even qualifying ED anymore. And there's nothing worse than getting an advanced recovery as a director, because there was no such thing as senior director, right? Nothing worse than getting an advanced recovery, at the director level when you were ED at the time, right? But needless to say, look, it was crazy. We were still being recognized as one of the top producers in the company, right? We were still being recognized as one of the top recruiters in the company at the time. We were still earning company trips, but forfeited the trips due to persistency issues, right? And so what's the moral to the story? Market the membership well, okay? Sell the membership well, sell it right. Don't add anything to the membership that's not a part of it, because it doesn't need to, right? Our membership is perfect the way it is. And one of the tips and tricks that I use today is anytime I enroll somebody, I ask, when is the best time for this to come out every month? The first of the month, the third of the month, the 15th of every month. I ask them that question so I can make sure I give them a call, put them on three-way with corporate, and make sure that we set it up to come out on that day every single month. That way we're good to go. Needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, today our personal persistency is well over 82%, which is amazing. And so stick and stay and you'll get your pay. So we went through all of that, ladies and gentlemen, and we went through all of that because we believed in what we were doing. You see, I'm going to share my screen again, and you just got to ask yourself sometimes, and I ask this question because I think it's very, very relative and relevant. Okay. Are you just saying that you believe in the Legal Shield opportunity, or do you really believe? Are you saying that you believe, or do you really believe in what we're doing here? Making equal justice under law or reality, being able to build a solid business for yourself that won't just pay you today, but for generations to come. See, all people ever want to know is the juice going to be worth the squeeze? If I do what you're asking me to do, are we going to get to the mountaintop? If I cross that rainbow, is there a pot of gold at the other end of the rainbow? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to let you know that there is a pot of gold at the other end of the rainbow. There definitely is. You just got to decide. You got to make a decision, and you got to draw a line in the sand. And that's exactly what we did. Look, we had some ups and downs and some downs and some ups and all that crazy stuff. But here's what I can tell you. A few years ago, I drew the line in the sand. And this is why it's so important to make sure that you have your why in front of you. Why are you doing Legal Shield, right? Because when things get tough and rough, it is your why that is always going to keep you centered and moving in the right direction, right? And I always wanted to be, a ring earner. I always wanted to feel like I was one of the who of who's in Legal Shield. That was a goal for me, right? Because I have a motto. I'm either the best or I'm with the best. And if I'm not with the best, then I'm one of the best. And if I'm not either or, then I got to retweak some things so I can get there. And so this whole thing, family, it's about belief. What do you believe? What do you believe? Understand that what you believe in, okay, will determine what your attitude is. Your attitude will determine what your activity is, and your activity will get you the results that you always wanted to have, okay? That's it. Okay. And so you have to check your belief. You got to make sure that your belief is strong, right? Who are you hanging out with, right? You got to hang out with super sharp people who are going in the right direction. Are you hanging out with people who are encouraging you and telling you, cheering you on and telling you you can do it? Or are you hanging out with people who say, no, this will never work? Because if you're hanging out with people who are telling you that this will never work, then I promise you this will never, ever work. But if you're hanging around the right people who have the right attitudes, right? And they believe in you and you believe in yourself, and you know that you got some God-given talents and abilities within you that if you just decide to tap into, if you just decide to put your best foot forward and go ahead and take a leap of faith, that you can get it done. You see, that's what it's all about, family. Understand this. You know, you don't have to be great to start, but you got to start to be great. And it starts with the decision. It starts with the belief, right? Are you listening to personal development, right? Are you reading, 10 pages of a good book every single day? Are you listening to 30 minutes or more of great audios every single day? Who's in your circle? You have to be careful and you have to really guard who you allow to rent space in your mind, because if your thinking is stinking, then everything else around you is shrinking. I promise you that one, okay? And so, we believed in the goal of in the dream of making equal justice under law a reality in this country, right? We knew that this company had a great compensation plan. I want you to think about this, right? I would always tell people, look, there are 4 things you got to believe in. Number 1, you got to believe in the company, right? This is a rock solid company. It's not going to be in business today and gone out of business tomorrow, right? We're being written about in Forbes magazine, Yahoo Finance, CNBC. We got an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. It's just there, right? We know this is a rock solid company. Number 2 thing you need to believe in is the service, right? We got a rock solid membership. You mean to tell me that for a little over $1 a day, we can protect ourselves, our family, and our assets? Of course we can, right? We got the best of the best law firms, AVBB rated attorneys there. You got to believe in the product and the service that we had. Number 3 thing that you need to believe in, of course, is the opportunity. Good gracious, how many people haven't we seen in a pandemic? Look at how many new executive directors this company has created. Look at how many ring earners this company has created. How many millionaire club members in a pandemic? I'm just saying, it just doesn't get any better than that. You're just watching people with your very own eyes get it done. I mean, good gracious, you're watching, Alex Shahid, who was a college student, multiple 6-figure annual income earner with our company. You're looking at Rob and April Hurst, right? Multiple 6-figure annual income earners with our company today. You look at the Alex and Jackie Cote. Some will say, oh my gosh, well, this business is only for people who, have been in the business for a long time. They're the only ones who make a lot of money. Well, I'm sorry. Alex and Jackie Cote have been in the game now for I think this is their second, this month here marks their second year. $400,000 ring earners. You're looking at the Marty and Israel wins, $500,000 ring earners in less than 2 years. All I'm saying, family, is, the opportunity is there. So you've got to believe in the opportunity, because the opportunity exists. You just got to make a decision, decide that you're going to do what it takes to get to where it is. And the 4th thing that you need to believe in is what? Yourself. You got to believe in yourself. You can't let anybody tell you what you can and cannot do. You determine what you can do. You see, and I remember, there were so many people who told me this wouldn't work and this is a scam. And oh my gosh, we're going to find you on the news one day in handcuffs, right? That's the people tell you all sorts of things, right? It's crazy. You can't afford to listen to them. Understand this. You are the average of the 5 people who you hang out with the most, right? And so make sure that you're around a good circle of people. Most people will never have success in their lives, but the great thing about it is when you're hanging around people who are here in Legal Shield, people who are super duper sharp, people who are excited, people who have a goal and a vision, and everybody's moving in the same direction, I'm telling you, you can do some amazing things here. And that's what I found, okay? And so you've got to believe in yourself, okay? Don't let somebody talk you out of your game. If somebody's going to, look, there's always a sell being made, okay? Either somebody's going to sell you on why this isn't going to work, on why this isn't the real deal, Holyfield, on why you can't be an ED, or why you can't be a ring earner, why you can't be a millionaire club member or a platinum ED, or you're going to sell them on why they need to get started right here, right now. So the choice is yours. You got to decide which side of the fence you're on, right? Hopefully you make the decision to be the one who's selling someone else. Okay. And so that's what we did. Our conviction was there and we were just determined. And so we just kept it going through all the ups and downs. But I'll tell you this, about 3 years ago, I made a decision. And I drew a line in the sand. See, sometimes I find that we're playing double dutch, right? You know double dutch, right? that somebody's that got the rope turning, right? And you're like, when do I get in? When do I get in? When do I get in? Right? You got to get in the game right here, right now. Now is the time to get in the game, family, right? And so we drew a line in the sand and we said, look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure we do 5 exposures a day, 3 sit downs a week, and attend a live event, one private business reception a week. That was the goal. 5 exposures a day, 3 sit downs a week, and 1 private business reception a week as well. That was the model that we use. And let me tell you something. Today, it's a whole lot easier. Today, you can do a Zoom, one-on-one Zoom, right? Today, you can expose people, digitally from the mobile app. Today, you can do a private Zoom conference call. When was the last time you did a private Zoom conference call? And I'm speaking to everybody here. I'm not just talking about the people who are brand new in this business and are just getting started. I'm talking about that person who's been in the business for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, right? When was the last time you did a private business reception, right? A private Zoom call. Maybe you want to do that, but that's the model that we stuck to. And, we started to feed that to our team, and we started to develop some other leaders and things of that nature. And I'll tell you what happened. We went from being in and out of ED. This month we're qualified. Next month we're qualified. The 3rd month we don't qualify. The 4th month we don't qualify. The 5th month we don't qualify. Oh, 6th month we qualify. 7th month we don't qualify. 8th month we don't, back and forth like that. We went from being there to today. We've qualified ED as early as the 10th of the month. I don't even have to think about ED. It just happens, right? But it's belief, right? It's belief, and it's having the right attitude even when things are a little rough. And it's also about making sure you do your part, okay? And so all in all, that's what we did, family. And here's what I can tell you. Things began to change quickly. Because of this business, I have great mentors, right? Russell and Carol Peden, they're Millionaire Club members, $250,000 ring earners with the company. Through this business, I've got 2 incredible God kids. Those are my God kids on the bottom there. They're Russell and Carol Peden's 2 youngest children. I always wanted to go across the stage and be recognized. We've been recognized across the stage many, many times due to the consistency and persistency and mastering our craft, really. I always wanted to be in the profiles of success. Remember I said about 3 years ago, I drew a line in the sand? Well, guess what? 3 years ago, we were put in the profiles of success. At the time, we didn't even have our first ring. We were just executive directors, but we had qualified over 8 months. And that's what it took at the time to be in the profiles of success. So 2019, we were in there. 2020, in there. 2021, in there. Next year, we'll be in there as well, right? We built a championship team, and we built some great team pride and culture, right? It is essential. So you want to make sure that, look, you're building a team. You want to make sure that you're speaking with your team. You get together regularly, on a regular basis, right? Because it just does something to you, okay? And then, of course, look, we were able to break our first ring earner on the team last year. Miss Tillis Aloze, she's a part-time she works this business part-time, but with a full-time mentality, silver executive director. And of course, $50,000 ring earner here at the company today. This business has allowed us to travel to so many places. We've been to the Great Wall of China. We've been to the Gardens by the Bay and the Marina Bay over there in Singapore. If you ever watch Crazy Rich Indians, trust me, it's just Crazy Rich Asians, it's just like that. One of my first kayaking trip in Phu Quoc, Vietnam, incredible experience. Been to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, where we got to go to the Petronas Towers, which used to be the tallest buildings in the world until a few years ago. Been to the Grand Palace in Dominican Pispoy. It's in Belgium, okay? By the way, you see all the yellow on the building? That's actual real gold on that palace. It's real gold. Imagine that. And as for the mannequin Pispoy, I don't know what's so special about him. He just pees, and there are thousands of people who come from all over the world just to watch this guy pee. It's crazy. Been to St. Kitts and Curacao. Been to Tokyo, Japan. You name it, we've been there. And I was going to show something, but I know that we're out of time. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and wrap up here. What am I saying, family? What I'm saying is make sure that you believe in what we're doing. Your belief, again, will determine what your attitude is. Your attitude will help you move forward when things aren't going exactly how you want them to go. Okay. Your attitude will determine what your activity is like, right? Are you getting your exposures out every day? Are you following up with the people who you expose? Are you doing three-way phone calls? Are you getting people launched properly in their business? Those little mundane things, they seem little, but they're very, very big. Okay. And then, of course, the activity will help you get to the results you want, and the results will help you get to the lifestyle that you always wanted. Today, we're blessed to say that we are six-figure income earners here with Legal Shield as earned, meaning we make a six-figure residual income here in Legal Shield. So here's what I'm going to say, family. If I can do it, you can too. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so